Hello, welcome to the Elevate Your Wellbeing podcast with myself, Rachael. We are on episode 50. Woo! Lots of chats and lots of podcast episodes, and I am really enjoying just rocking up and doing these every single week. And I really hope you are too. So I would love to hear from you. If there is anything you would love me to dive into more of, do let me know. Only way that you can get in touch with me is listed in the show notes. And I wanted to chat about something that's come up for me recently, which is I've seen this as a quote or a meme of, stop looking back. You're not going that way. But sometimes we have to honor just how far we've come. And sometimes the only way that you can do that is by looking back. So one of my favorite books I love to recommend to people, especially if you resonate with like the childhood, like saying of when you're on a car journey of, are we there yet? Are we there yet? If you're setting goals and then you're struggling with like, I'm constantly working on this. I'm not there yet. And I feel like I'm a work in progress. One, mic drop. I think we always are work in progresses. I think we always keep moving the goalposts, but we're really good at highlighting the gap. We're really good at looking at where you are now to where you're wanting to go, that massive, huge gap of that's the goal I want to achieve and I'm not there yet. But what are the gains you've had? Like, how far have you come? What's the journey that you've had? Who are you now compared to who you were when you started this journey that you're on? Whatever that is. So the book is called The Gap and the Gain. And in case you didn't guess that from what I was just chatting about, The Gap and the Gain. And it's really powerful to notice how your thoughts keep coming up. Like, do you constantly sit in the gap? I'm not yet. There's still so much to do. I'm nowhere near my goal. And how powerful it is to zoom out. Now, a friend of mine who's also a coach, she shared this, and I was like, that's exactly it. But she shared a journey of one of her clients. She is a fitness coach, but she also helps people with weight because a lot of her clients really focus on that as a goal, but actually they get so much more out of it. And I think this is the key thing with a coach. It's amazing how much you get out of it when you go in with one key focus, but actually there's so much more to it. But if you were to record your weight fluctuations over the course of 7 days or even a couple of weeks or a month, in a very short time span, those 7 days or a couple of weeks or a month, you would see a lot of up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And it would almost feel like there's no progression. It's like, yes, I've lost weight. Oh, no, I've put it back on. Yes, I've lost weight. Oh, no, I've put even more back on. However, if you were to do that, say, in a space of a year, probably not even that long, to be fair, and then you zoomed out to where you started and can still see on the chart where you are now, those fluctuations are minute in how much you've actually gained because you're taking that bird's eye view. And for me, I feel this is the same as looking back. It's so powerful to look back and honor the journey that you've already taken to get you to where you are. And I see this a lot on the yoga mat, that there are people that I can remember when they first started their practice with me and how much of a challenge it is. And so many of them are still practicing with me today. And there'll be things that come up now. I can't do that pose yet, or I can't hold that pose for ages yet, or that this pose still feels challenging. It's like, yeah, but if that's your only area that you're really zooming in on, zoom out and remember how it felt to get on that yoga mat for the first time, or for the first week, or for the first month, or even the first year. And really honor and acknowledge how far you've come through that journey and how you feel in your body now compared to when you first stepped on the yoga mat. You've stayed consistent. You've stayed for journey. You've stayed for the progress, and you have created it. But I'm willing to bet the reason you started isn't the same reason that you keep showing up. So those goalposts have moved. And that's what's really, really powerful with honoring how far you've come in your journey. So, how often do you reflect back? This is where that reflection is so key to elevating your well-being, because you can honor, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's where I started. That's how I started. That's what I used to do. And I can remember when I first started practicing yoga, it was literally for 10 minutes. I literally had a VHS videotape, so way before DVDs were even a thing. And the practices were all broken into 10-minute segments. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do 10 minutes and then I'm done. Now, a lot of the time I got to the end of the 10 minutes, I was like, oh, the next one's starting. I can, my mat's right out. I'm already here. I'm already warmed up. I already know what one it is. I'm going to have a go. But there were times where I was like, no, I've done 10 minutes and that's it. And I honored that commitment, 10 minutes, that 1%. But now I could quite comfortably, I've gone to classes where they were then 3 or 4 hours rather than 10 minutes. But I wouldn't have done that to start with. Or I could go to something that's a whole day, or I'll go to a retreat or a training that's a whole week. But that's only possible because I set that intention to, I'm going to roll out my mat and I'm going to do 10 minutes. And it became a practice, it became a focus, and it became relatively comfortable. But there are still things that challenge me. And there's still times when I'm just like, I don't want to roll out my mat. But I then remember how I felt after I roll out the mat, and then I get on the mat. So it's honoring where I'm at, because that's in my body. I can honor how that feels. I know what that feels like to keep showing up. So sometimes you need to look back to honor how far you've come, to honor that journey. So if you're at a point where you feel like you're struggling, or you don't have the motivation, or you're losing sight of that clarity or that why, or the reason that you're showing up to do the thing, if the clarity or the why just isn't coming up for you, reflect back on why you started in the first place, even if it was years ago. What started that practice? What started that process? And what was the motivation behind you showing up then? And then have a look forward as, what's keeping you stuck now? Is there something that you're working on and it just feels so far away? And this is where it can be really powerful to work with someone like myself as a coach to help you navigate through that when you're feeling stuck. So if that's something that you're wanting to dive into more, I will have the Facebook group link in the show notes. So you're very welcome to join in there, because that gives you the opportunity to connect with me and ask questions related to the topic I'm going live with every single week in there. Or you can also hop on a completely free strategy call. So that's just 15 minutes and we can go through what you're currently struggling with. And I give you 3 options that you can move forward with. One of them would be coaching with me if that actually is needed. But then, that could be something where we can work together one-on-one for 12 weeks and really have a whole look at your well-being, focusing on the 4 foundations and expanding from there with what it is that you're struggling with and where you need that support moving forward. So if you would love to learn more, just have a little look in the show notes and go for what resonates. And I will see you next week.